Now I'm going to say bloop. I'll have to tell you about that after the show. Bloop. Maybe I'll talk about it on the show.
There we go. All right, everybody. Welcome in to... Where'd that go? There it is. Woo. New soundboard.
We're getting there.
Well, there it is, everybody. Welcome in to Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp. Join Mary as she tickles your taste buds with her salty wit and her exceptional palate, all whilst guiding us through the land of low sodium living. Brought to you in part by the support of our good friends over at Reeses Barkery Pawtique. Why? Well, because they have high-quality kibble, raw foods, bulk dog and cat treats, toys, pet CBD, birthday cakes, and so much more, because your fur babies need to eat healthy as well. Give them a call at 815-363-PAWS, P-A-W-S, that's 7297. Check them out at 1313 North Riverside Drive, McHenry, Illinois. And, of course, today, let's try something new. Welcome in.
Something new, like cutting off all my hair?
Yeah, I don't know if they can see that on the radio.
Not on the radio, but I think it's funny that trying something new is this is a week of new things and a week of change, and I love change. I absolutely love change. I always have. And it's I actually got a few messages that said, is everything all right? Should we do breakfast? Should we do coffee? Something? Because I turned my whole world upside down and left my career and went into insurance. And then I was there for a little while, and I left on Monday. So, and nothing against them. That particular team was not a fit for me, so I found a new team, and we'll announce that later.
In transition. I'm in transition.
But from the simplest nature of it, Monday I left my job. By Wednesday I potentially had 2 jobs, and then Friday I cut off all my hair. And for those on the radio who've never actually seen the Facebook Live or the YouTube or any of the other social media live events, I've normally all my life, outside of the last time I cut all my hair off when I was like 8, maybe.
Yeah.
It's always been down past my belt line. I've always had really long hair. So I did. I had someone send me a message, a couple people actually, like, you want to do breakfast or something? Let's get together. And like, everything okay? Everything's fine. I'm not having a midlife crisis. I'm not like, it just happened. It's coincidental that the changing career paths and my hair all fell at the same time. So what does my hair have to do with low sodium? I was losing my hair. It's happened 3 times now. When I first got diagnosed with liver disease back in 2015, about 3 or 4 months later, I lost about a third of my hair. And I kept telling my husband that if this continues at this pace, I'm just going to let you shave my head, because I'm not going to be walking around with bald patches trying to pretend that I'm not losing my hair and do some kind of...
He doesn't get up and slap somebody. We're fine.
Yeah, right. Or comb it over. The lady comb over.
That's right.
So, but thankfully, it slowed down and it got better. And then when I had my spinal issue, when we discovered I had transverse myelitis, you fast forward, and that was 2019. A few months later, I had another round and I lost another third of my hair. You fast forward again, and I had COVID at the end of last year, when we lost Pete.
Yeah.
And here you go, 3-4 months later. And what people don't realize is a common thing that when you lose your hair, it's usually genetic. You're going to lose it anyway.
Yep.
An autoimmune, like alopecia, like we've all, the whole world knows what alopecia is, which is an autoimmune disorder where that affects the hair all over your entire body.
Eyebrows and everything.
Yep. A friend of mine had her little girl, when she was 10 years old, developed alopecia and only lost the hair on half of her head.
Yeah.
So they did. They shaved her head and they took her to the wig store and whatever that little girl wanted. She ended up liking her bald head, so she rocked a bald head, which was great. The other is a stressor. So a lot of people now are talking about losing their hair from COVID. When I say losing your hair from COVID, that kind of stress, hair loss, you don't typically go bald.
Yeah.
You lose a large portion of your hair. If you're losing chunks and actual have like bald spots, the size of a quarter or something, you're losing chunks of hair. That's probably something more akin to alopecia. So any kind of stressor can cause that.
Yeah.
Menopause, pregnancy, just flat out stress, divorce, whatever you want to call it. And it doesn't have to be COVID. It could be mono. It could be, a cold, a flu, whatever, any kind of stressor. And because women are prone to significant hormone fluctuations, and then you add on top of that, so your liver is what filters all of your hormones.
Yeah.
It's that balance for you. So I'm a little bit more sensitive than most people to those changes. So I was losing more of my hair, and it became what's the point of pretending that this isn't happening? The shorter part of my hair was still thick and fine, and I can feel that it's growing back. Like you can feel the little tiny spiky hairs that are growing back. So I just said, screw it and cut it all off. So it wasn't a midlife crisis thing. It was, I don't want to look like a fool trying to hang on to something that's not there. So let's just chop it off. But it is the crazy part of it is how many people are like, I can't believe you're just so blah about it. Like you don't care. And the first person that sent me a message when I had mentioned that I was going to cut my hair off, I said, are you going to think anything less of me because I have a different hairstyle or no hair? I said, absolutely not. Then why do I care?
Right.
Like, if I get a haircut and I absolutely despise it, I can guarantee you right now that there's every single day in your life, you come across someone that is wearing a wig and you don't know it.
Yeah.
There is a boatload of women that wear wigs, not because they're balding, not because they're cancer patients, just because they can and want to on a regular basis. And you will never, ever know about it.
Yeah. Lisa says, I have PCOS, am menopausal, and have life stresses, which is why I decided to be proud of my hairpiece while I needed it.
Yep.
Yeah. It was hot and heavy.
So, so yeah, it was, whatever. It's hair. So now I chopped all my hair off. The problem is the day that you get it done, it's fabulous because your hairstylist does your hair. She used like 3 different kinds of hairbrushes that are different sizes so that it curled differently. And she has some kind of conditioner thing and a mousse thing and a something else thing and a curling iron thing and a flat iron thing. And so it was cute yesterday. And I'm not saying it's not cute today.
It's good.
But today was, I own a blow dryer. And a brush. Not a different kind of brush and a little tiny brush so you can curl it around the brush and blow dry your hair and make a little curl and do this and whatever. I am not a girly girl.
Oh, man.
I don't own any makeup.
Let me tell you, in my house, we have everything. We've got hot curlers, spinners, flat irons, regular
You're the only
irons.
testosterone in that house, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even the dogs are girls.
Right.
In my house.
Right.
Yeah. It's
so
crazy.
I didn't really think about it until this morning when I was like, oh, I own no hair products. I own I have a flat iron, but it's from like 1990. So it's not the kind of flat iron. I'm not even entirely sure.
You're a hat lady. You wear a hat.
I am a hat lady. Yeah. I am a hat lady. So, and it is because my gray. So yesterday I had 2 people ask who my hairstylist was because not only my haircut, but the dye job. I was like, no, this is just an old lady part.
Yeah. Silver is in. A lot of kids are doing the silver. Right. Yeah.
So I have this ombre thing. I don't know what it's called. But...
Hey, Alice, good morning. I says, Lucy always looks at hairstyles, and I say, you don't have hands in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was my fear was, short hair is like, I barely know how to do, so I don't know. We'll figure it out. But worst case scenario, I'm going to be putting I wore my hair up all the time anyway.
Yeah.
And like you said, I have a baseball hat collection, so it's absolutely no problem for me.
Yep. And Lisa says Sally's Beauty Supply in McHenry can be your friend. LOL.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And hey, you know what? Tune in tomorrow at 9 for the last episode of Lisa's Changing Perceptions. It's coming to an end, and it'll end tomorrow at 10.
So change isn't a bad thing. And they've actually done studies on how change and learning new things actually improves your brain quality. It promotes neuron growth, all these other things. So like learning new things, as simple as it may be, is actually good for your brain. Especially later on in life, if you've made a lifestyle to learn new things and try new things and expand your brain over the course of your life, it helps reduce your risk of mental issues later in life, such as dementia and things of that nature, because it just increases your brain. But trying new things is only as terrifying as you make it. And it's always funny how it's a simple sentence.
Yeah.
You eat less sodium, simple. Eat less sugar, it's simple. Drink less soda, it's simple. Don't do drugs, it's simple. Everything's so simple.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's really not. I get it. Terrifying, especially if it's something that you've built up this internal hatred for. It's hard to try new things. But again, they are only as terrifying as you make them. So for me, I love trying new foods. And for people who are scared to try new things, I think that is one of the easiest ways to start getting yourself into trying new things.
Yeah.
Something that a lot of people don't think of is if you want to try something that you've never tried before, your best friend can be a deli because they will let you try it. So
yeah. Or
if
Costco.
If you go, Costco on a Thursday or something, is it Thursdays or Fridays or something?
Yeah, that's right.
And Saturdays and Sundays, but there's one day a week where it's like sample day at every single place. But when you go to a deli that offers different kinds of salads or macaroni and cheese or roast beef, and then plus all of the different meats and cheeses and things that they have, those are the kind of places where you can ask for a sample from them or literally just order something and be like, I only want 3 slices.
Yeah.
There used to be a guy when I was downtown, he would come into the deli every single day and order his lunch. Because he liked to make his sandwich himself, he would go to the deli and specifically order like 3 slices of ham, a slice of cheese. I'm like, why don't you just order the whole pound for the week or whatever? And every day he'd come in and like, whatever. All right, well, to each their own. To each their own.
Right. But
food is an absolutely fabulous way to try new things and to step outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Especially when you have restrictions. Because if you suddenly have to eat less sugar or less salt or whatever it may be, when like with those delis, and if a lot of people think of a deli as going to the grocery store, which is fine. A lot of grocery stores have absolutely fabulous delis. But if you go to an actual old school, like Jewish deli or New York style deli, and yes, they are around in other places outside of just Chicago or New York. You don't have to be in a major metropolitan area to have a deli that's an actual deli.
Right.
I don't know if it's a Jewish deli or a Polish deli or a whatever deli over in Arlington Heights. Small little shop, but it's the whole outside corner of the walls is all deli cabinets, and you can get everything from pierogies to lunch meat to full-blown meals to like it's sauerkrauts and all that. I mean, it's just insane the amount of products that are there. On top of that, cheeses and breads, and then you've got canned goods and all this other stuff. Or you go to a butcher shop, same thing. They've got all of these different types of things that you can try little itty bitty bits. And it makes an absolutely wonderful opportunity to try new things. And a lot of this sparked because I posted a picture for St. Patty's Day. I made spicy meatloaf and colcannon. And a friend of mine, Nicole, who helps me run the recipe group and the farm group, had posted, I'm posting things. She made a comment on my post that I post things that she never knew existed, which, it's that sentence in itself cracked me up a little
That's
bit.
true. You said something today. I was like, maybe I did. I don't
Right.
know.
So that I had asked you, have you ever had colcannon? All it is Irish mashed potatoes. So it's mashed potatoes, boatload of cream, boatload of butter, and either kale or cabbage. I do mine with spinach. Usually just a leafy green is fine. I'm not a big fan of kale. And if you cook it yourself, you got to cook it for a long period of time. It takes time to cook down because kale, those big, dark, leafy greens, kale and collards and stuff like that, it takes time to cook them right.
Yeah.
I am a lazy person. So I prefer to just take, spinach out of the freezer and throw it in there. And it makes absolutely a fabulous dish. But I also add cheese because I'm a self-proclaimed cheese slut.
There you go.
And for all of you out there that say on low sodium, we all suggest eating Swiss because Swiss is one of the lowest sodium cheeses that you can get on a regular basis. And you say, I don't like Swiss. I wasn't a fan of Swiss cheese either until I went low sodium. It wasn't that I didn't eat it. It just wasn't my preferred choice. But now, not all Swiss cheese tastes the same. Not all blue cheese tastes the same. Not all cheddar cheeses taste the same. Right. Once you start eating low sodium, your palate changes. You'd be surprised how much of your palate is just tasting salt. It's not actually tasting the food that you're tasting.
Yeah.
It's the salt that overpowers everything. You just don't realize it. Irish cheese tastes different than any other Swiss cheese that you can get. It's got a milder, more aged, earthy flavor than some of the other Swiss cheeses. So Swiss cheese tastes different. So if you go to a deli, ask them to try a couple slices. I wouldn't recommend going to a deli and asking them to try a bunch of things when they've got 6 people deep waiting to get their lunch meat.
Right.
Don't be that guy. Right? Like, oh, can I have a thin slice of that one? There was a lady in front of me the other day who she made her adjust the thickness of the meat slice probably like 10 times.
Yeah.
And it was just back and forth from like a 2 to a 3 to a 2 to a 3 to 2 to 3. It was like, just get your lunch meat. Like, it's not going to freaking matter. You're going to eat it no matter what. But it is an awesome way to try all of these wonderful different things without committing yourself to, a pre-packaged item.
Yeah.
So the other one that I like to do is to search a cuisine. So as of late, obviously, the one thing that everybody sees in the news everywhere is Ukraine. So I searched up Ukrainian recipes. My husband does not like beets.
Ugh, Alice likes beets. She's the only one in the house that does.
Oh, golden beets are so roasted golden beets are amazing.
Tastes like dirt.
Not all beets taste like dirt. Some beets taste like dirt. Not all beets taste like dirt. But you're right, some do. But beets are one of those things that's much like cilantro, where cilantro to me tastes like pine sol.
Yeah.
My husband will eat a cilantro salad. I can't stand the stuff. Yeah. So, but that's a very well-known Ukrainian dish is borscht.
Yeah.
Which borscht is just a beet stew. But I'll search up different cuisines. Italian recipes, everybody has seen a million Italian recipes, but if you search Italian recipes, you might find something that you've never heard of. They make a whole lot more than just spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah, or do you ever go like region specific? Like, hey, I want Italian, but North Central Italian or something. There's a lot of different, right?
That's how bucatini. That's how I learned what bucatini was. It's a type of pasta. Cacio de pepe. It's literally just butter and pepper on pasta, and it's amazing.
Delish.
Amazing. But that's exactly how it was. So you find these different things. What's a comfort food of Georgia? Something. You pick a state. It doesn't have to be a country or a region or whatever. You just pick something different. What's Wisconsin Food Festival, and you look up what they eat there. It's like, oh, I've never had one of those. I've never had one of these. And
Louisiana, get some crawdads.
Right.
Delish.
And crawfish taste different than shrimp. I hate to break it to you, but they do, and they're amazing little critters.
They're delish.
So, a few
And-
of the ones that I made recently was the Cole Cannon, and the other one was Avgomano, which everybody pronounces wrong, and I'm probably doing the same.
Magda says, hey, absolutely hate cilantro, but love beets. Borscht is awesome because you can use the whole beet with the leaves. Actually, I was watching.
Beet greens are super tasty.
Yeah, actually, I watched the Tournament of Champions on the Food Network, and that's what Simon Majumdar was saying, was like, if you want greens that are really, really good for you, beet greens are some of the best.
Yes,
tasting
they are.
and most nutritious. So.
That's the other, I've said this in the past. It's very aggravating to me that the celery leaves are cut off. So when you go to the grocery store and buy celery, you don't get the celery leaves.
Yeah.
The best thing in a tuna salad or a chicken salad is to just chop up
the leaves.
So in the center of the celery, the heart of the celery, where you still get some of those little tiny leafy greens, and everybody cuts them off.
Yeah.
If you chop those up like an herb, like a cilantro, and put them in your salad and stuff, it is like a super potent punch of celery without the flossing of your teeth kind of celery stalk. But you don't get them. The same with beet greens. You buy beets or you buy all of these different things. And it's just now that you're starting to see these things in the produce section where they leave the leaves attached to it, because 90% of the time, all of that stuff is edible. They just get rid of it and they don't eat it. And you should. Magda, by the way, she is the owner of Just Crockett here in McHenry. She's going to be on the show. I think I talked to her about it.
Surprise.
If I haven't, surprise, I'm going to invite you to be on my show.
Just Crockett.
She does low sodium pre-made crock pot meals.
That's awesome.
So of all of the times that you would think, to show you how popular low sodium is without being popular, there's somebody in my town that makes low sodium crock pot meals because her husband has heart issues.
We could just set it up and you could do like a food show right here.
Like our Thanksgiving.
Everything. Oh, it'd be great.
I made cookies to bring in today for Kent, and they're already gone. Low sodium. Those are on my website. The ecstasy, chocolate ecstasy cookies.
Right there.
When I first had to go low sodium, like everybody that's on that low sodium journey, you start going, holy crap, this is in everything. Everything has salt in it. I didn't realize how much salt is in cookies. I couldn't have cookies.
Magda. Lisa's just wondering if Magda does any gluten-free ones as well.
She would have to answer that. I don't know if she does. I don't quite think so.
Be a good question when she's on the show.
Yes. Because gluten-free, you need a whole separate set of
stuff,
kitchen tools and cooking and all of that stuff to actually be truly gluten-free.
Gluten-free, yeah.
The cookies, though, I didn't realize how much salt until I started thinking about it, between the fact that you use baking powder or baking soda for the cookies to rise, and almost all cookie recipes call for a quarter, half, or a full teaspoon of salt. So if you look at a package of cookies, Girl Scout cookies, for 4 Thin Mints is 90 milligrams of sodium. Like 2 chocolate chip cookies is like 200 and some milligrams of sodium. I'm not going to waste half my day's worth of sodium because I'm not going to eat 2 cookies. I'm sorry. The only reason you ate 2 cookies because I only brought you 2 cookies.
That's right.
Had I brought more, I guarantee.
But I had them with coffee, so it was more of a soup. That's the way I would look at it. It's more of a soup.
Chocolate coffee caffeinated cookie soup. Oh, that's hilarious.
Now, the interesting thing is, I tell my kids all the time, and now most of them are grown, but I tell them all the time, especially when we're, like if we go out to eat or something, I'm like, no chicken nuggets, no chicken today. And they kind of look at me. I'm like, you got to try other things.
Yeah.
You might be missing out on the best thing in the world, your favorite meal. And I bet if you don't try it, you'll never know that it's your favorite meal. So my kids are very open to trying new things, right?
That's fantastic.
Because you never know, right? The only vegetable I ate as a kid was corn.
Green beans.
Didn't like the smell of broccoli, cauliflower, whatever. And then I tried it. I'm like, oh my God, that's delicious.
Mhm.
I absolutely, beets I don't do. Tastes too dirty for me. I don't
Right.
like it. But I'm not a big catfish lover either because of the muddy taste of it, right? If it's not farm raised.
Right.
And but I've tried it. You got to try
Mm-hmm.
everything. Some of the squash that some dishes that my mother-in-law's made, you're just like, oh my God, this is so delicious. But you got to
It's
try
the
it.
same with mushrooms. I've never been a mushroom fan.
Love mushrooms.
Mostly because they've always been overcooked, spongy, squishy fungus.
Yeah.
And
Morels.
it's just like, I like the flavor that it adds to the pizza. I don't like the squishy, spongy, whatever thing that it just became on
Texture,
top of my
right.
pizza. So I picked it off. And then through my low sodium journey, and everybody kept saying to add flavor, add good midnight from Singapore. Add mushrooms. It gives this umami flavor. So I was like, all right, I'll try these stupid mushrooms. And now I eat mushrooms 2 or 3 times a week. I discovered that not only does the cooking technique matter with mushrooms, the mushroom itself matters with mushrooms. I am now addicted to lion's mane mushrooms, which I buy from a local purveyor because I cannot buy them in a grocery store. That is more of a luxury. I mean, maybe if your grocery store is in a major metropolitan area that has a higher end kind of, whatever, artisan, whatever.
Yeah. You said it.
Those words that haven't come out of my mouth because I skipped breakfast. And my breakfast is like 3 espressos.
And Gary says, nice haircut, Mary.
Thanks, Gary.
And also, you might see right there, you're drinking a little bit of it, but Kay's custom roasts right there. Good. That's her dark.
Mine is no longer Starbucks.
No. That is Kay's dark roast.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely fantastic. Not too acidic, not too strong. It's got a really, really clean taste on your palate. Really good.
Yeah, that's
local roaster.
KS Customs. No, KS Custom Roasts.com. K's Custom Roast.com.
Yep.
Yeah, she's another local person. And it is really good coffee. But my whatever it was that I got this morning that wasn't the right coffee. It tasted good. It just wasn't the one that I ordered.
But hey, you tried something new.
I did. You know what's funny is the reason why I've tried so many different types of coffees from Starbucks is because they messed up my order. And yes, I can go back and complain and cry about it and piss and moan about it. And then I didn't have 6 pumps, 3 whatever, and blah, 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 blah. Because when I go to Starbucks, I order a latte. So it's just espresso and cream.
Yep.
That's it. So all the fancy pantsy ones, I don't get to order them again because half the time I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
If I could read Starbucks, maybe if I had someone on the show that could read the Starbucks labels to tell me what a VTIC TSTV, and
I love doing this because I'll just get black coffee. My mother-in-law gave me a Starbucks card, gift card. So the other day I was going and I'm like, you pull up to the drive and you're like, I'll take a venti black coffee.
Yep.
And then there's a hesitation by them. Did you want have a roast preference?
The same with my latte. Every time I order a latte, I'll take a venti latte. Just the plain?
Yeah.
Yep. There's a latte. Nothing else.
Right.
Every once in a while, I'll get a little funky and be like, can I have an extra shot? So it's a triple latte.
Right.
But no flavoring. No, I'm good. No pumps of anything. No sugar, no caramel, no blueberry or whatever the hell. You can actually get a blueberry latte, which is, they don't taste bad. I had one of those by accident, but not my thing.
The aroma's better than the flavor.
It's like popcorn.
Yeah.
It smells amazing, and then it's a letdown. Tastes like nothing.
Yeah.
So, but I search up all of these different things, and the reason I learned how to make avgomano is because a lot of people have had avgomano. They just don't know what it is. And a lot of times when you go to a restaurant and they offer you a soup of the day, they still say, would you like lemon chicken and rice soup?
Yes.
Or chicken and rice lemon soup, or any variation of lemon, chicken, and rice in some kind of word order soup. And everybody goes, oh my God, I love it. Every Greek restaurant that you've ever been to, most likely they have 2 soups. One is a rotating soup and one is avgomano. No one can pronounce it, so they don't say it because they don't want to look foolish. And then they just offer you chicken lemon soup. I have been trying to perfect my recipe so that I finally posted it the other day. It still needs a little bit of tweaking, but I keep getting yelled at because I keep making the soup and I keep not posting the recipe. There's actually someone here local who's recovering from organ transplant surgery. And she made a joke on my page that she managed to get a new organ before I posted my recipe that she wanted.
That's great.
I was like, I also have liver disease and transverse myelitis and chronically lethargic and a day job and a radio show and all these other things. I mean, I get it. Those are all my choices to do things. And I'm a little
That's
bit,
funny.
I'm not the greatest. It takes so, and it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the fact that I finally posted the recipe that she wanted, and that was the day I messed up my recipe. So, or not my recipe, my website. So I set all of these recipes on a schedule to post.
Yeah.
So for like the next 2 weeks, it was supposed to post recipes and post recipes. And then the next morning, I went to turn the schedule on and I screwed up my website so that the one thing didn't work. And now that I decided to leave my job and cut my hair off and do all this other thing, I haven't had time to fix my website. So they're all sitting there.
That's funny.
I just had it. So I sent her a message and I was like, you better look out your window because pigs are flying, because I just posted my avgomano recipe and she sent me all these little bells and whistles and was so excited. But I was like, I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
So Gary says in Singapore, he does a venti latte with chocolate whip, pumpkin spice, Jack Daniels whipped cream, colored rice, and maraschino cherry.
You know what's funny is it sounds like a joke, but I bet you that's a thing in Singapore.
Delicious too.
I think it might be Singapore where they eat ice cream in bread like a sandwich.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure. Gary will have to correct me, but I think that it's Singapore. If not, it's somewhere over there where they literally, it's like you like getting a hot dog from a hot dog cart in the streets in the city. You can get like purple ice cream.
That's amazing.
Oh, I'm not going to be able to think. What is the purple stuff? What is the vegetable that makes the purple? It's like it's kind. I think it's a type of sweet potato, but they have a purple ice cream. They have purple bread. And it's made from this sweet root vegetable.
A scoop of ice cream on a piece of bread.
Yeah, it's literally like you would get Wonder Bread here and put a scoop of like sherbet ice cream on it.
So I think what we do, Mary, is we talk to the board of directors at DDOE to send us over to Singapore, because
it's a research trip.
Their food markets are
It's
amazing,
a research trip.
Right? And then we can get Gary. He says it's a purple yam.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can over here. It's more commonly as a powder or something to actually mix and make the purple bread. And I haven't done that yet, but I've tried it. There was a place like, in Chicago that made it, and I used to get it.
It's like snack time for him over there. Midnight is snack time.
Yeah, in Singapore. Right. So, but yeah, no. So the avgomano is something I make all the time, and the same thing. It was just you search up different Greek things, and you have your standard wrapped grape leaves and stuff like that. But there's all of these different cuisines. Same with Irish. It's not all corned beef and cabbage. It's a lot of boiled dinners and foods of necessity, which is why it's, cabbage and potatoes and corned beef or beef in general, cottage pies and shepherd's pies and all those kinds of things. And they tend to do more meats. It's not necessarily your standard beef. It's the lamb and the sheep and all this other stuff. So
Gary says if Kent comes over here, he's going to change his wardrobe size when he gets back.
That's hilarious. We probably both will. Are you kidding me? That would be a blast. That would be an absolute blast.
So what'd you guys do? We ate. And then we laid around, and then we ate some more.
And then we went out and ate some more, and then we ate some more, and we
did 2 shows, and then we ate some more.
Right? It's like an eating disorder.
Right.
But in addition to searching up different cuisines, you literally just make shit up. There, something that I make all of the time is cream, like mashed potatoes and corn.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I stock up on the mirai corn at the farmer's market. It's a local
Sweet corn.
species or strain, whatever the hell you call it, of corn here created in the Harvard area.
Very sweet.
Super sweet. It almost tastes like you've soaked the corn in sugar overnight. So I buy a lot of it at the farmer's market and freeze it. But even if all I do is make mashed potatoes and put a boatload of cream and a little bit of cheese and put corn in it.
Yeah.
And so many people tomato potatoes I make all the time. And when I first started posting that, people were like, what is it?
Tomato potatoes.
Tomato potato. Yes, tomato potatoes. I take a can of basil tomatoes because you can get, I think it's Del Monte.
Low sodium. They don't say low
They
sodium.
make a no salt added basil garlic stewed tomato. So I literally just take I get them at Sam's Club. They're the little tiny new potatoes about size of a golf ball.
Yeah.
All the different colors or whatever. You get a little bag of them.
Yeah.
Cut all of them in half, put them in some water, boil them up for 8 minutes so they don't go mushy but stay firm and kind of mushy, just cooked through. Drain them, put a can of the basil tomatoes in there, a clove of garlic, and a little bit of Dax Red Mountain or a Dax Original Red spice in there, and a boatload of pepper. And I stir them up, and just because the tomatoes or the potatoes are cooked but not quite mashed, they fall apart anyway, so it turns into this kind of sort of chunky, mashy, not mashed tomato potato side dish that's amazing.
How's the color? Eat with your eyes first. This seems a little pink to me.
No,
No,
it doesn't. It stays. I could probably pull up a picture of it. I haven't made. Now I'm going to make it for dinner tonight because I'm talking about it.
Here's another one to try. Hainanese chicken rice. He says, forget about the lemon chicken rice. We have the real deal over here.
I'm going to have to look that up and make it. Now I'm going to have to.
Hainanese chicken rice. So what I'm doing for the next 21 days is
cabbage soup diet.
No, but it's going to be super smoothies. So I'm just so Phil, who's on the bridge with me, bridging civil tension, he just got done with a 21-day liquid diet, right? So they had shake. I don't want to do shakes and everything. I like soup, and here in the Midwest, it's kind of chilly, wet, damp in April. So good soup eating weather.
It is fantastic soup weather right now.
So I'm just going to get creative with it. And of course, Alice is like, well, you like the stuff with stuff in it, like chowder and chili. I go, no, that's soup. I said, it's got to be soup. It can have pieces of stuff in it. It doesn't have to be liquid. I'm either going.
I could give you my freezer and feed you for 21 days.
Yeah.
I got bean soup and chili and avgomano, and I have a turkey avgomano. You got to be careful because I didn't strain that one real well. So we've had a couple thin bones come out of that. Yeah. You wouldn't think that. I don't think turkeys have any more or less bones than chickens do, but chickens, it's almost like they're so small. It's more of a cartilage or a tendon.
Yeah.
But in turkeys, those tendons and cartilage, they're so thick and large because it's such a larger bird. They don't quite break down. So in the thighs and in the legs and stuff, there's a lot of these little tiny, almost pin bones like you'd have in a fish. So anytime I've shared the turkey avgomano with people, I've had to warn them, like, just tread lightly because you might have a little pin bone, little toothpick. I just added some toothpicks to your soup for you. Now I feel like I'm compelled to bring you some soups for your 21-day challenge because they'd be healthy soups.
Alice is like, why would you do that? I go, I don't know. I just like doing challenges. I haven't had alcohol for 3 months now.
That's fantastic.
Right? Don't really have a craving for it. And notice that, I'm trying to see how things are, like, well, my bones don't hurt. There's no swelling. This is okay. Right. But people are like, why? I'm like, I don't know, just to see if I could do it. I'm just challenging myself this year, doing some things. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go with some soup. I like soup.
I never realized how much changed when I quit drinking.
Yeah. He says there's no general sausage.
There, when I lived downtown, and like any place, there was a I don't know if you'd call it Asian or Cantonese, or it's called a Chinese restaurant, and it was probably called China House or China Hut or China something. I'm pretty sure the people that ran the place weren't even Chinese. They were from some Asian province somewhere, but I doubt that they were from China. And the same menu that you see everywhere you go. You got your sweet and sour chicken, you got General Tso, you got all of these things. And this was long before I had to go low sodium, but I said, will you make me what you would make? And it took me a few minutes to get the guy to understand what I was saying. Like, he spoke English, but he's like, I don't understand what you're asking. Like, I can, no, I don't want anything on the menu. Like, I know that these aren't necessarily even the ingredients that you would have in whatever country you came from, but at the end of the day, when you make yourself a lunch or a snack or a dinner or a breakfast, like, it's whatever time in the afternoon, if you just finished your shift, what would you make? And he made me this garlic vegetable. So every time I went in there for the time that I lived down there, he knew what I'm like, I want this, whatever the thing was, the garlicky thing.
Yeah. What do they call that? Table meal or something?
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like, whatever you made is what, and it had snap peas, and he put the beef in it instead of chicken. It was always beef. And it was amazing. It was not, and I've never had it since. I don't know what was in it. I don't know how to make it. It wasn't necessarily it had a sauce, but it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Gary says basically you want to eat what the locals eat.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I want to eat what you. I don't want to. I get that it's Americanized.
Right. Yeah.
Same with Mexican food. You go to a Mexican restaurant, and it always cracks me up because when you have cheese on something, and they don't use a whole lot of cheese.
Yeah.
So I ordered enchiladas the other day, and there's like 3 little pieces of shredded cheese on it, where if you go to Taco Bell, it's like half a pound of cheese on there.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even know how to cheese it properly because they don't put cheese on it. They're just putting cheese on it because that's what us Americans want. So it's
right.
funny.
I mean, you go, you get, hey, I want a steak taco. Okay, you get cilantro,
steak and onions.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's absolutely amazing.
That'll work.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is, and I wish that I had the luxury to travel and try so many more things. That's a regular dish you could just.
Yeah, he's talking about the stir fry. Garlic beef with vegetables. He says that's a he, meaning Gary over in Singapore,
Gary
says that's a regular dish that we just cook and eat at home. Just need something quick, let's whip it up.
I spent so much time recently trying. My husband used to have this bourbon chicken type thing. It's from any strip mall in America you can go to, and there's a place that makes it. And I tried searching recipes and tried. So finally, I can't remember the name of the dish. It's a chicken something. Pancet, something. It's a Filipino dish that our friends from Sticks and Noodles turned me on to because they make Filipino food for their Filipino food truck. And it is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Ginger, lemongrass, it's got Sprite because they apparently use Sprite in all of their marinades.
I've seen a lot of people use that. Yeah.
So I had to go to the specialty grocery store to find the lemongrass and all the stuff I wanted because my store didn't carry it. But the same thing, I was trying to make this stir fry, and I just stopped trying and went, okay, every single cooking show, every time I've watched Anthony Bourdain and he goes somewhere else, and it's ginger and soy sauce or a bean paste or whatever. So I just did that, and it now is my husband and I have made it 2 or 3 times, this beef stir fry rice thing that's it. It's just scallions and beef with ginger and soy sauce, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's still low enough sodium because it's just the smallest little amount. I do low sodium soy sauce, and I cut it with sesame oil and stir fry the beef and add scallions with a little bit of brown sugar, some honey, and ginger.
Here's
boatload of ginger.
Here's another one. Gary says the best Filipino dish I've taken or tasted is lechon. Lechon.
I'm gonna have to ask my Filipino guys if they have it on their truck.
There we go. Look at all this new stuff we're gonna try.
I love it. See, that's the thing.
Try something new.
If especially with food trucks. If you've got food trucks in your area,
Yeah.
and you can swing by and just try something different.
Yeah. So, Gary, are you saying that the lechon or lecon, Lechon, is just Filipino roasted pork belly?
I bet they make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, see, I'm looking it up, and I'm like, man.
Couldn't even wait. Looks good, right?
No, I can't, because this summer I want to do a pig roast.
Yeah.
Because for those of you that are here locally, we have the group Fresh from the Farm in Henry County.
Yep. On Facebook.
And I've got the hookup for all of that. So I fully intend to do a pork roast this summer. So that's I could totally do a Filipino pig and call my Filipino food truck buddies and make them do it for me.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe 21/6 and that chili cook-off this
Oh,
fall.
that sounds fantastic. Oh, I'm so excited.
So, yes, he says lecon or lechon is just Filipino roasted pork belly.
That's the best. If you haven't been to a pig roast where you get
on the spigot,
if it's done certain ways, the outside of the pig's skin is almost like this, like the crunchy bit of a piece of bacon.
Delicious.
I'm sorry for all you vegetarians out there listening to my show, but it's amazing. And I'm sorry that I just made you picture a pig, but it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So so many things that are made up out of necessity. Some of the best dishes that we've all had, soups and stews and casseroles. I mean, you go back and look at any advertisement from the 70s and some of the shit that came out of there, some of these casseroles, and you're going, who in their right mind decided to take cream of mushroom soup and cheese and tuna and put it together and throw it in the oven and bake it? Somebody who had nothing left in their cupboard but a can of cream of mushroom soup, tuna, and cheese. Yeah. And you add all of these things together or steal it from a restaurant.
Well, the interesting thing is, I think that when you're trying new things, especially if it's something we don't know or we don't have the time or patience, most people here in America, on how to layer those flavors. Right. So, we're talking about things, and Gary just puts up on his bucket list is a Hawaiian luau. I mean, they dig a pit and they throw everything into this pit and cover it up with sand, and all those flavors marinate, ruminate together for hours and hours and hours. And then you taste it and you're like, this is heaven. So good. And then what do? Hey, it's Wednesday night. I got to get the kids to basketball practice. I've got a thing at church, chicken nuggets, French fries. Done.
Yep.
There's no flavor layering, anything of that nature. We talked about,
and it's salt.
We talked about the avgomano,
as my niece calls it, avgolemino.
And we just, it's lemon chicken soup. So not that we're dumbing it down, but we taste that and go, oh my gosh, this is really good, because there's some layers of flavors there. Trying things new, I think, is how do you layer those flavors? How do you learn to do that?
So, it's funny because so many people buy. The reason they don't have that knowledge of layering flavors is because they buy a packet.
Yeah.
And a lot of like low sodium dishes, or a lot of casserole, not low sodium dish, a lot of your comfort food dishes that at least my generation and stuff have grown up on, are those can of cream of mushroom soup, can of celery soup, can of cream of something soup, dumped in, and it's that semi-homemade kind of era.
Yeah.
Or instead of making a dip from scratch, how many people have made onion soup from Lipton onion soup mix? I've never made soup from it. I've made dip from it. I've made casseroles from it. I've made crock-pot stews from it. I have never used a packet of Lipton onion soup mix or even generic Aldi onion soup mix to actually make a soup. That flavor packet was used to make some other semi-homemade creation. So the problem with that is you know how to make a dish, but you don't know how to layer the flavors to get there
Right.
and make it without that packet. So now all of a sudden when people go to this dietary restriction that says they can't have sugar, they can't have salt, they can't, maybe you're allergic to the aluminiums, onions and garlic.
Yeah.
Onions and garlic are everywhere. You think salt's everywhere. Onions and garlic are in everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So without knowing how to layer those flavors, you just use a packet and you don't know where they came from.
Yeah.
Gwen
says I used to make chip dip and onion soup with the onion soup mix and also onion gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I made a million different things with the onion soup mix.
Oh, I was in college. I made soup with that.
Well, no ramen.
I think we were out of ramen at that time.
That's the other. There's so many people outside. You know, if you grew up in the States and not in an Asian culture of any kind that has actual ramen or pho or anything like that, even broth.
Yeah.
To make a stock or a broth, you buy it in a jar, you buy it in a box, you buy it in a can. You don't know how to make it and layer those flavors. The funny thing is, it's not really hard to layer those flavors.
No.
If you watch and someone make a stock and you cut an onion in half, skins, root, dirt, all of it, and it goes in the pot with the chicken and the bones and the skin.
Right.
And the heel of the celery root and all of these things and all of the garbage that you would think like this is garbage goes in the stock pot to make the stock. So the cream of mushroom soup, because so many recipes, that was one of the first things when I went low sodium, and that's a lot of times in the forums and in the groups, people say I've been making. Like Thanksgiving, it's a popular topic because everybody makes green bean casserole.
Yeah.
How do I make green bean casserole without cream of mushroom soup? Well, you could just make cream of mushroom soup. I mean,
it's an idea.
Search cream of mushroom soup recipe and make the cream of mushroom soup.
Heavy cream, mushrooms. Right. Yeah, let's go, people.
So at its simplest level, if you saute mushrooms in real butter, you'd be surprised how much flavor comes from flat out real unsalted butter. That's it. I cook so much with clarified butter. Oh. Yes, it adds fat to my dish. I get it. I eat more carbs and I have a higher caloric count than most people would ever think in a million years. Yeah. And then they go, how come you're not 400 pounds? When you find your body's balance, your body does an amazing job at eliminating the things you don't need. Sugars, fats, salts, all of these things that are in excess, it will get rid of those things. Yep. And everybody's body's got a different balance. Some people are made to eat meat. Some people aren't made to eat meat. Some people, if your genetic bloodline has spent its entire life living off of, soy and fish products, and now all of a sudden you think you're going to eat meat and potatoes, your genetic makeup in your biome, your gut biome, as they're now starting to research, is going to have evolved to eat and digest and process different types of things. So my cheater for cream of mushroom soup is saute onions, garlic, and mushrooms in clarified butter with pepper. And if you want to add a spice to it, add a spice to it. Basil, rosemary, and lavender are fabulous spices. If you don't have those, you can get herbes de Provence, and they're the same thing. If you don't have that, you can literally just do an Italian herb spice blend. The Lighthouse dehydrated herbs that you can buy at the grocery store, a lot of times that the flavor punch that comes from those, I found to be very, very nice. If you want to cheat and just do the low sodium blends, again, I've said it a million times, daxspices.com. There's other places. There's Penske's spices or whatever. There's a bunch of different ones. Mrs. Dash, there's all sorts of different low sodium. I personally like the Dax spice blends. The Lipton onion soup, you can buy dehydrated onions anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a little expensive at the grocery store. I get a big jug of it from Sam's Club. You can get them on Amazon. What makes the onion soup mix is garlic powder, dehydrated onion chunks, dehydrated garlic chunks, and salt. Yes, there's other spices in there, bay and different things like that. But the predominant things that make it, so when I make a dip, that's what I do. Dehydrated onions, some fresh garlic. It's the same stinking thing.
Yeah.
So you can make those flavors with a little tiny bit of research, searching up what you need. Trying to think of the other one. Oh, the tomato and zucchini gratin is another one that is a try something new.
Ooh.
I had a bumper crop of zucchini, and we had this late blooming. We trimmed our tomato plants back, and it sprouted some of the undergrowth from because one year we let our tomato plants just grow like weeds. So we had this huge selection of giant green tomatoes. So I sliced up green tomatoes, which stay nice and firm, layered with a little bit of panko breadcrumbs, some pepper flake and pepper, and a little tiny bit of Asiago cheese because the flavor is so strong.
Yeah.
Even if you're low sodium, doesn't mean you can't have those things. You just have to pay attention to how much you're using.
Yeah.
So that little tiny bit of Asiago cheese combined with those different kinds of spices and throw it in the oven and bake it off.
There you go.
And you have something new. Of course, now I'm distracted because on the bottom of my thing, I have these Filipino dishes and this Hainanese. Basinger.
Yeah.
Sorry, if my husband still listens to the show, he'd be laughing right now. But you got to try new things. And food is the easiest way to do that, especially if you're someone who's terrified of change or doing something different.
Here's what I want. I'm going to put this on your radar for the next show. We're getting into planting season. You were just talking about the things you have. Several people now are looking to perhaps
garden.
Yeah, but they don't have a garden. So maybe they've got some pots. Maybe they've got some, window things or whatever. I would love to kind of go through and say, okay, if you don't have a lot of space, but you've got some pots or whatever, this may be some things you can look at that would work in your yard or whatever. Because, our new house, this is selfish, right? So our new house.
So you selfishly want a garden idea for your house.
Well, yeah. I mean, so our new house, we don't have a garden area, but the former people left all these big pots that has black soil and stuff. You could see that maybe they had some tomatoes or peppers in there or something. But it would be interesting, I think, and as we talk about layering flavors or whatnot, what can somebody plant that doesn't take a lot of, you don't need a rototiller or a tractor.
I think that's a fabulous idea for the next show. Yeah. Speaking of which, our show, we haven't decided. There might be some time changes. We will be announcing that here in the coming days. I'll post it on not only my page, but we'll post it on the station's website.
Stay tuned.
Well. Just because it's a lot of work to put on a show every single week. So we're gonna change things up a little bit. Just because why not? In the spirit of change, we like to change and try something new until it works, because I love doing the show and we don't want to leave it. We just got to make it work with everything else that we have going on, because that's how things go.
That's life. Yeah. See, Susan said the same thing. I'd like some gardening tips.
It's a perfect time too, because like I said, my husband and I, we didn't do our garden last year. Just because we just moved into a new house and there was more important things at the time.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about it the other day, how we got to start putting together, because we do both. We have a garden that we're going to build. And we also have our potted garden and herb garden. So we will do all of those. And there's
perfect.
A lot of different things.
Gary, I will. Gary says, see if we can get some URLs working on the chat there. That way we can post some links to food photos to distract you all.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
That's a good idea. Good idea. Good idea. As always, please like and follow us. Check out our YouTube. The more subscribers we have, the more luxuries we have. 216thenet.com.
Yep.
And also, we have an app for Android. You can download and listen to our station
Yep.
because there's plenty more shows other than mine.
There's a
so
ton of
check
them
us
out there. There's a ton of them. Awesome. All right, that's gonna rock it out for this this episode of Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp. Of course, you can always grab her at right here. Let me just show it right there.
MyLosoLifestyle.com.
My Loso Lifestyle. If you're looking for a delicious little chocolate ecstasy cookie, go out there. Good recipes, things going on there. Come back tomorrow at 9 for the finale. The final episode of Lisa's Changing Perceptions here on 216 The Net. And we're going to have fun. So, for all of us here, thanks for getting caught in the net with us this morning. Be good to each other, and enjoy the weekend.